Hey everybody, I am just a dude and welcome to my video channel, whether that be on BitChute or on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about Moloch. The very famous and infamous statue Moloch has come up in the news today. I got an article from the ChristianPost.com I want to talk about, but before we get into that, I would like you to subscribe to my YouTube or BitChute channels. And if you're on YouTube, click that little bell notification so every time I make an upload, you'll get to see it first. When you hit that little bell notification, there will be a drop-down menu. Hit all to make sure you get all the latest news and information from my YouTube channel. And if you're on BitChute, if you would be so inclined and you like the content that I'm creating, hit the little $sign next to the subscribe button. And if you'd like to offer me a donation or anything to help me out to continue with this work, it'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, folks, now let's get into the article. It comes from thechristianpost.com. The name of the article is The Moloch Statue of Child Sacrifice on Display at the Colosseum, Holy Site for Christian Martyrs. Yeah, that's a big deal because a lot of Christians were killed there in the Colosseum, eaten by beasts and tortured and whipped and whatnot. And here they're actually putting Moloch, a paganistic god that actually used to be used to worship in ancient times, as it can be seen in the Old Testament, where you would literally sacrifice your children for this false god. So a lot of Catholics are very, very, very upset. And the article goes like this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just highlight some parts for you. A statue of the pagan deity Moloch, to which children were sacrificed in the ancient world, is now stationed at the entrance to the Colosseum in Rome, which has been designated as a sacred site because of the Christian martyrs who died there. Very true. It's kind of insulting. And as you can see here, this is a statue of Moloch. I don't think this is the one at the Colosseum, but yeah, not cool. Not cool to put that in a place where a ton of Christians died for their faith. Continuing with the article. The ancient Roman stadium was declared a sacred site in 1749 by Pope Benedict XIV, an official church policy. Stations of the cross were later installed depicting images of Jesus Christ on his way to the cross with accompanying prayers. So the Pope has declared this a sacred place, the Colosseum. It's under his authority and preview. Once again, Catholics, the leader of the Catholic Church, the Pope, is doing some questionable things as of late, as you could see in the last video or two that I put up about the Pope. So this is really concerning, actually. And I'll continue. Many faithful Catholics are outraged that a representation of the pagan god sits outside a place where Christians were brutally tortured and killed, and they should be, especially since in 1749, Pope Benedict XIV made it a church policy that it's a sacred site of Christians. So why would this Pope, the current Pope Francis, allow a paganistic deity or a statue of a deity be allowed there? That actually was real. And back in ancient times, people would sacrifice their kids to this statue. I don't know, very questionable, folks. Continuing. We were so excited the day we decided to go to the Colosseum, Alexandria Clark told the outlet. But the moment we got there, the sight that greeted us was horrifying. Standing guard over the entrance was a colossal pagan statue of Moloch. It was placed in the prime spot so that everyone that entered the Colosseum had to pass it, she said, noting that it felt as though it was placed there to mock where the martyrs were slaughtered. Yeah, this is really actually disturbing if you really think about it. Here you have a Catholic Pope who made it a sacred place, put up things for Jesus Christ, depicting his way to the cross. Tons of Christians got killed there as entertainment at the time after Jesus' death. And now it's just kind of frivolously put there, this Moloch statue by a current pope that doesn't honor the sacred declaration made by Pope Benedict XIV. It's really baffling. I don't know what's going on with the Catholic Church lately or how they pick their leaders, but this is insane. Continuing. Throughout the Old Testament, God speaks with disgust about the worship of Moloch, particularly the offering of children in burnt sacrifices. Now, if you want to get back to why he would say this is so, disgusting and why God was so impassioned about why this shouldn't be allowed, just go back to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. He knew us before we were even born in the womb. He had a plan for us. So here you have parents and religious leaders and sacrificing their children to a false and fake god. I think that would make anybody mad or upset. Basically, you're murdering your children once again for something false. Continue with the article, and this is in quotes. It's out of the Bible. Say to the people of Israel, any one of the people of Israel or of the strangers who sojourn in Israel, who gives any of his children to Moloch, shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. People always say, well, why would God say, kill people with stones? He's such a mean God. You're killing his children to a fake God. Read the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not put any other gods before me. And just read Jeremiah 1:5. Don't injure or hurt his children. Not just adult children, but baby children. You have a responsibility to them. You're failing them deeply if you're a parent, a religious cult, or a religious society, or, just bystanders allowing children to die for no reason. God's going to be pissed. Continuing, I myself will set my face against that man and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given one of his children to Moloch, to make my sanctuary unclean and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do at all close their eyes to that man when he gives one of his children to Moloch, and do not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his clan, and will cut them off from among their people, him and all who follow him in whoring after Moloch. God tells Moses in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1 through 5. Now people say, well, that's a mean God. That's a nasty God. Well, you're killing his children. And those of us who stand by and would let it happen, we're just as guilty as the parents and the religious leaders that would let it happen. This is why people who are Christians are fighting so hard for pro-life. We can't just idly stand by and allow it to happen knowing the importance that God holds in these matters. You just can't do it. Continuing, the art display of the Moloch statue follows another incident in Rome where pagan symbols were situated at or near sacred sites and gatherings. Controversy erupted in Vatican City last month over the use of Amazonian carving images, specifically Pachamama statues during the Amazon Syod, a synodical meeting of Catholic bishops which some considered overt idolatry. Thou shalt not have any other idols before me. Isn't that like commandment number 1? I never quite understood that about Catholics, but I have heard that they actually have changed the order and deleted certain things in the Roman Catholic 10 Commandments as opposed to the Protestant one, where they actually eliminate the worship of idols. So it's really, really interesting stuff. I don't know enough about that topic to make sure or verify it, but I have seen comparisons between the two, and my number one question would be, why would it be changed in the first place? If you believe it, if there's arguments to say, well, we still don't worship graven images, I would say, okay, well, what's this all about, number one? Number two, why didn't you just say what the original Bible said anyway, or the King James Version or the Geneva Bible? Why did you go and change in your own order? Why did you have to try and make it look confusing? Why is that? Anyway, I digress. Vatican and Syod officials asserted that the images were representative symbols for the region, not pagan idols. Well, representative symbols, what were they exactly? Amazonian carving images specifically. Okay, so it doesn't matter. They're still images. They're still idols. They don't belong anywhere near or around anything that's considered sacred in the eyes of God, or especially something that was considered sacred by the Pope back in 1749, Pope Benedict XIV. So what's going on here? What's all this weird stuff that's going on? Traditional Catholics hurled the Pachamama statues, symbols of fertility, from the Amazon region into the Tiber River in Rome after having removed them from a side chapel of Santa Maria in Transpondia, a church situated next to St. Peter's Basilica. Okay, and that's the end of the article. But this here, this is another thing that came up across on ChristianPost.com that once again you have to at least raise your eyebrow at and go, okay, what is going on here with this Pope? Why is he allowing pagan idols, false gods, on a land that's been declared sacred by a former Pope that represents a place where martyrs died for their faith in Jesus Christ. This is weird. This is getting crazy. I don't know what's going on here. All right, guys, listen, that's all I have for you today. It's something to think about, something to be aware of, and just, you got to pay attention to this stuff because you don't know what our leaders are doing, whether it be Catholic, and I'm not just coming down on the Pope. I'm coming down on all the leaders, whether it's Presbyterian, Baptist, Evangelical, whatever the case may be, Lutheran. Got to keep an eye on the leaders of the church because they're doing some weird things. And you hate to say it, but honestly, it's because people don't know what the Bible says. People don't know what's right and wrong anymore because they don't study themselves. Their leadership is horrible. And it's just a travesty. You don't know. This is just insane. It's baffling to me. And you really sit down, read this, and think about it. It's really something that Catholics specifically and Christians alike should be concerned with, should be aware of. And in no way, shape, or form should anyone be supporting this kind of decision whatsoever. In fact, they should be fighting against it. All right, guys, listen, that's all I have for you today. If you would be so kind, subscribe to my YouTube or BitChute channels. It would be greatly appreciated. If you're on YouTube, click that little bell notification after you subscribe. There'll be a drop-down menu. Hit the all button to make sure you get all my latest information and videos. If you're on BitChute, after you subscribe, click that little $sign if you're so inclined and you like my content. It would be greatly appreciated because it really helps me out to do this kind of stuff and take the time to edit and all this other kind of things for you, just to talk about topics. And remember, folks, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are, whether it be YouTube or BitChute. And I want you to keep this in mind too. This is a Christian video channel. I've been getting a lot of comments now, and I've had to start approving comments because I'm getting a lot of comments on things where there's a lot of cursing, there's a lot of negativity, not honest and real debate. We're talking about nasty stuff. So if your intention is to do that, you could write it on there, but you're not going to get posted on the channels. It's just not going to happen. I'll delete it. But if you want to have an honest debate, or if you have something positive to say or some insight, if you're a Christian, it is always and will be greatly welcomed. All right, folks, until next time, what do I always say? I say, God bless, guys. Take care, and until next time, bye now.